Okay, so when you've added all the final little steel planks into the bow and into the stern, we should have a completed hull. So what we need to do now is really, it needs its first major sand, so then when we can bring these laminate strips, and then we just glue these pretty much identically over the plank below it. So what we need to do first is think about these tags. So I'd say there's 3 ways of kind of dealing with this. The first one is, which most people do, is actually you can just sand straight over them, and you just see it just sands the head off. I've done that on a few little locations there. There's a couple of other options as well if you want to. You can just get your little side cutters, or you can get like a pin removal tool and you can just dig little pins out. But like I say, there's different options for that. If you've got different kind of finishes, that's when you want to get the pins out. But because I'm going to go over a laminate strip, I think I'm just going to sand mine off. But there is another option as well, that you can get a little hole punch that's designed for pins, and you just put that over the pin head, and you just slightly countersink it slightly, and that completely buries the pin. So when you bring your laminate over, you won't even see that. So there's a couple of options, but I think just for the easiest one, because we are laminating, I'll just get my sandpaper and just go completely over it. Okay, so I'm just going to use a little sanding block. I'm just using 40 grit to start with, and all we really need to do is just give it a really good first sand, where we kind of following around the curvature of the hull. Want it straight along that surface there, run around about the first 4 planks, but then that's nice and straight, and then we're just going to curve it around into the bow. So let's say I'm just going to sand for a minute just to show you how to take off these heads, and that's how easy it is, and then we'll come back. That's how easy it is just to remove the pinheads. Okay, so I'm going to take this outside now, give it a complete sand, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I've been sanding around about 2 hours. Pretty much got it to be exactly where I need to be. So all you can do now is just, now you've kind of pretty much finished the sanding, just run your fingers over it. Just make sure that it feels nice and smooth. Any high spots, and you can just take your finer grade, and then you can just take off any high spots. But because I've been working on it for the last hour and a half, it feels nice and smooth. Okay, so what we can do now is start thinking about moving on to this laminate strip, and these are the strips that come in the kit. Exactly the same as a plank, but it's one of these strips is like an equivalent to 5 planks. So these are only 0.3 mil thick, and what we're really going to do is we're actually going to mirror exactly where we put the last plank last time, and then same again, even with the drop of planks and everything, it's all going to be mirrored to what we did the first time around. But all this is going to do is just give us that really extra smooth hull, ready for taking some primer and then paint. So you can notice the difference. This is one side where I left all the nails in, and then onto the other side is I did decide to take quite a few of them out, just so I wanted to show people the difference. So let me know what you actually do. Do you take the nails out, or do you leave them in, and which you prefer? Just let me know in the comments. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some of this tack cloth. You need to use about half of one. This does exactly what it says in the tin. It's just a tacky cloth that you use after sanding, and what it'll do is just get in between all the grooves, pull out all the dust, and sanding. This is actually where you probably might see a few more gaps. It's just going to make it a laminate strip just stick better. See what it's taken out. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to mirror it exactly like we put the first plank on, and I think that was the first plank we put on 3 or 4 videos ago. So I'm going to go on that one. I'm going to join the follow the joins completely exactly the same. So what I did before, I'm going to brush on plenty of glue. Doesn't matter if you go over this one, because whatever excess glue on will just get picked up by the next plank. So normally I'd leave that to sit around about 5 minutes before I apply this strip, but because we're in the quite warm in the UK today, I'm actually only going to leave it for about a minute. Okay, so that's been sat for about a minute, so that should be good to go. So I'm going to get this plank, and what I'm going to do is just going to wet it on one side. Find the first join was there. You can see it becomes almost like super glue. It's almost instant grab. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the next plank. I'm going to put that directly below it. Same again. Just going to wet it. And this is all this, so it doesn't absorb the glue too quick. So now I'm going to find the join on the deck, and we can push them up to the one above it. And this is when you can really make sure that you've got incredibly tight seams between your planks. Any mistakes that you made on your first layer of planking, this is when you can really shut them gaps. So I'm just going to take one more. So let's take a bit of an off cut. Just put that facing up between them overlapping planks. Then when we come to fit the next one, we've got the correct gap. But that won't stick down by leaving it up in the air. So now what I'm going to do then is take a cloth and then just take off any excess glue that's oozed out, and then just make some final adjustments if needed. Okay, so that's the first 3 on. So like I said to you before, so all we're going to do is just completely marry this top layer planking like we did the first layers that we put on. Let's say, so we've pretty much got 3 full strips there, and then we'll come in with this drop of plank. So I'm going to do exactly that. Okay, so we're making good progress on the laminate strip. I'm about 70% down the hull, and now we're going to turn his attention to this keel section as well. So when we did the first layer of planking, we just put straight piece on, and then we cut in the little steel planks after. But this time you can, because it's only this thin laminate, you can actually get away with trying to put full piece in when you can. So what I've done when I've attached this last strip, coming from the hull section. I just left it around about 50mm from the end unglued, so then I can lift that slightly up. So then we're going to glue this piece in next. This is the one that's going against the keel. And what we can do this time is then we can just use that as a template just to cut it where it needs to be. Just like I did before, just glue down this section. So I've just got this straight like I did before, just moisture in the back. And we can slide this into place. So what we can do now is get that piece that's not quite glued, make sure that's in the correct position. And then we can just take this really sharp craft knife. And we can just kind of go up against the edge of the plank. They now showing up really nice, so they can just be glued in place and held with a little bit of tape. Okay, so I'm going to bring in this next piece now. This is just a straight cut. So I measured where the plank started to feel resistance, and I measured that gap right to the point, which was 22mm. So then on my piece, I just made a mark 22mm back, and then cut a straight cut. Same again, always wet on. And then because this is going in at a point, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right on the tip, and then we can slide this one in, and we should get a really nice finish. Yeah, it's almost watertight. So if you're achieving joints like that, then yeah, you're doing really well. But it's something that it just comes with practice. If you model building, shipbuilding for the first time, don't expect it to be like that on your first couple of times. But over time, you'll eventually achieve these. Okay, so what I want to do now is show you something else that you can do, because this laminate strip holds really well, but sometimes it can just, just spring back slightly. On this battleship, battle cruiser, whatever people want to call it, it wouldn't really matter because it's going to get filled and then painted. But as this was a ship of the line, where then this finish was going to be teaked, or you're going to wood stain it, you really want to close these gaps as best you can. So what I tend to do is to get rid of any glue, and you just take one of the off-cut pieces of the deck and put it up, and you can really squeeze the pieces together, and you can just add a little temporary tack just to hold it in place, and then you just put a couple on. I've got a couple that I've used below it, so then you careful, don't push it up too much that you make the kind of pieces of wood want to rise up on themselves, just enough that it will close the gap. Same again. Just have temporary tacking. So like I say, things are a little bit different on the laminate strip, so we can bring that onto the ruler, onto the piece, put it where that MDF base is. Put it real nice and flush, and then you can just kind of score it on the model itself. And that just follows the line of that false keel. Okay, so that pretty much wraps this tutorial up for fitting the laminate strips. I'll just go away now and finish this off, and then we'll come back. Okay, so it's taken around about 2 days to get this laminate strip planks all completed on the port side. So all I've really got to do now is take this outside, give it a really nice fine sand. I've already started to sand some of the bow and some of the stern, so it all just needs blending in now, getting it really smooth, so then we can kind of move on to the next stages where we obviously drilling out the portholes. We've got some strips to add, and then we get it to prime, but that'll be in the next video.